Let's bring in Alexey Muraviev. He's an associate professor of national security and strategic studies at Curtin University. Professor, thank you so much for being with us on the program. 1,000 days on, and Biden has approved the use of long-range weapons just 2 months before Trump sits in the Oval Office. He wants to end the war, describing himself as Putin's friend. What's your analysis on the latest developments?
Look, I mean, I can probably explain it by a couple of reasons. One is obviously the ongoing situation on the battlefield. The fact that Ukraine continues to be on the retreat, they're now losing ground very slowly. They're still holding on, but still losing ground in the Kursk region. But they're also losing their own home turf along the entire front line, and a number of pivotal strongholds are currently under siege, and Russia is likely to overtake them, like Kupiansk, for example, Chasiv Yar, a number of other places. So it's an attempt, obviously, to slow down Russia's advance, but then questions would raise on how effective the deployment of those missiles is going to be. First of all, it's not the first time Ukraine will use them. They used them in the past. The Russians managed to intercept some of these missiles. Some strikes were successful. It also very much depends on the actual stock that is available to the Ukrainians, because as one of your previous reports suggested, there are well over 100 targets that Ukrainians have identified. Whether they will actually have the physical capacity to hit them all or attempt to hit them all, that's a big question. Secondly, it may be an attempt to show to Vladimir Zelensky that the West is doing everything it possibly can. And there's been a gradual transition of what the West was releasing to the Ukrainians. So releasing those, not just those missiles, but also others that would accompany them to hit targets in Russia, may also be a way to show, well, we tried, but you haven't really done much in terms of achieving any success on the battlefield. The final point I just want to make very quickly, it may be a very clever move arranged by Biden in consultation with Trump. So when Trump will enter political negotiations with Putin, he will actually have a bargaining card to say, well, Biden ordered this. I'm actually canceling the order. What is going to be your move in order to start the de-escalation phase?
Right. I mean, the big question, as you mentioned in your first point, is whether or not Ukraine is going to actually use these weapons, how frequently they're going to use these weapons, the stock that they have of these weapons, and how it will change the dynamics of the war. But will it help or hurt the prospects of peace?
I don't think it will. It would very much depend on the political dialogue between Moscow and Washington. This is where, unfortunately, Ukraine will play very little role, regardless of what Zelensky is trying to say, because clearly it's an escalation, and we're yet to hear formal confirmation from the White House and Pentagon that, yes, that order has actually been given, because currently we're still commenting on what has been detailed in media, not from the horse's mouth. And at this point in time, it would obviously be the key parties that are involved in the conflict. Yes, Ukraine will be consulted. Yes, Ukraine will be making representations. But I think when it comes to Putin-Trump relationship, it's always been the relationship of the two plus respective political elites.
Right.
So unless Zelensky will go ahead and will start firing those missiles inside of Russia, and then Putin will be compelled to respond in one way or another, he may choose not to respond by simply rely on Russia's air defense to intercept the missiles, or he may deploy a symmetric response.
Right.
But only after this situation will be cleared, then we can actually understand how it will go from here. In terms of game changer on the battlefield, it's not going to do much.
Okay, Alexey Muraviev live for us there in Perth. Thank you so much for that analysis. I appreciate it.